Anytime you beg another man to set you free, you'll never be free. Freedom is something that you have to do for yourself.
Okay, so I wanted to make an update about the COPA versus Wright trial because it seems like Craig has revealed some aspect of his grounds to appeal. He's also spoken out quite a bit about a few other aspects of the trial, so I wanted to do a little update video just kind of discussing some of these things. Most interestingly, he's stated that he provided Antier with screenshots and did a video call with them where he demonstrated he had regained access to the Satoshi VistaMail account. Now, that was the VistaMail account to which the Bitcoin website was initially registered to. And apparently it seems that his former lawyer at Antier he wrote out an affidavit stating that he'd witnessed all of this, that he'd witnessed that he'd logged into the account personally and seen the exact price that was paid for the website and a bunch of other details that were specific to that. But that when he went to go back into the account the next day, he couldn't, in that he didn't have access to it anymore. And it kind of seems like the logins triggered something at, well, I'm just speculating here, but it seems as though they were then locked out of the account after having accessed it a couple times in a few days. But apparently Craig has screenshots of that, because it's something that he sent to Antier. And apparently there was another meeting where they had some sort of follow-up meeting, and that Craig has documents, receipts for the meeting that they had, where he sent people from Antier to Africa to meet with something Mayaka. It was Dennis Mayaka in Kenya. I'm just going through this from memory here. Yeah, it seems like that's why it wasn't covered in the reason why this wasn't covered in the trial is because Craig's legal counsel had pretty much overruled his request to have this included. And it seems like he implicates Justice Miller in having a say in that, and that they overruled his request to waive privilege on this matter because, I mean, that's just the allegation that Craig lays out in this thread here. It's pretty interesting. If you give the whole document a read, it seems as though Craig had regained access to that email, demonstrated that he'd regained access to that email to his lawyers, and provided them with a screenshot of it. But that shortly after this happened, they then couldn't go in and regain access to the things that they'd seen initially when this was first demonstrated to them. He also states that they had done this on the instruction of Kristen Nager-Hansen. That Kristen Nager-Hansen was instrumental in pretty much having his legal team discount this particular piece of evidence. And it seems like Justice Miller overruled Craig's own desire to have this by granting his legal team's request pretty much to overrule his own instructions, to overrule Craig's instructions. And yeah, it's kind of interesting. I mean, that was something that I was kind of skeptical about during the trial or after the trial, how that never came up. Craig initially had stated that he had proof of having purchased the Bitcoin.org website. So, I mean, if this is something that was left out of evidence, it's a strong case that it's a strong grounds for appeal if his legal team and Justice Miller pretty much violated him and his rights in having this brought forward as evidence. And it seems like they used him having autism as an excuse to justify overruling his request to waive privilege on the matter. But in addition, he's spoken out about a bunch of other things. He's flat out accused Zuko of having completely perjured himself on the stand, stating that he'd never used Windows. But then provided some documentation, some screenshots showing that he was working on software in Windows in 2009 when he'd stated that he hadn't used it until 2012. So, I mean, that alone kind of takes away from Zuko's credibility in what he said on the stand. Yeah, it's fairly interesting. I'll maybe add a few other things to this video when I get back home, but just on the face of it, it seems as though that Craig demonstrated to his lawyers that he had access to the Satoshi email, that they went into the Satoshi email and validated that it was through that email that the website was registered to him, and it showed the exact cost. Again, there's a bit of a description of what exactly was shown in this demonstration and when the lawyer himself logged into the account, so I'll probably put a screenshot of that here. But yeah, fairly interesting. I imagine there'll probably be more that comes out in the next few days, the next few weeks. It seems like Craig has an interest in putting this in the public record so that it's there for people. Kind of weird, though, that COPA isn't doing the same. So, again, I highly suspect that the reason that they're not actually publishing things in order to discredit his permission to appeal in some way. I don't know if they can. I don't know if there's something legally preventing them from doing that, but if there isn't, it seems like they probably don't want to make that too public. So we'll have to wait and see for more information to come out. Craig also made some defense of his latex document, saying that the video that was provided showing he had altered it was recorded after the date he had submitted his documents to his legal counsel. And that the original document predates that editing. He also exposes some conflict of interest with Mr. Madden himself. So in addition to his kind of questionable qualifications, he points out that Madden didn't disclose that he has holdings of BTC and a couple different exchanges. I think Coinbase and Kraken are the two that he mentions here. But yeah, there's actually quite a bit of stuff that he's posted. I'll link to that here, but really it seems like there's plenty of grounds for his appeal. I mean, we discussed this in some Twitter spaces previously. There are definitely solid grounds to get his appeal granted. I'd really love to see the rest of the appeal document. Obviously, I think that the document's probably quite lengthy because he wanted to list everything. Same with how Justice Miller's ruling was rather lengthy. His permission to appeal is going to be quite long, so I'll probably take a day or two to read it, make some good notes about it whenever that is made public, but I don't think that's going to come out until October. I believe October is when the courts are actually going to review his permission to appeal, so yeah, take a look at the links that I'll include in the video. Give it a read yourself. There's quite a bit of stuff that he's talked about the court case. But I covered the most important things here in this video. So yeah, really interesting. I hope that he's successful in this appeal, and again, we should hopefully get the document, the permission to appeal document, within maybe a month or so. I don't know if it'll be published once it's accepted by the courts, but I suspect that might be the case, so we'll have to wait and see.